everybody. I've had a couple of people ask me how I make my drawstring masks. So I'm going to show you how to make a drawstring mask with a pocket for filtration materials. This is how you put them on. You throw it over your head, you tighten it, you place it on your face where you want it, get it adjusted and tie it into place. What I like about this mask is it fits. You can fit it to your face so that it's comfortable. It doesn't really squeeze. You can make it as tight as you want or as loose as you want. And when you're ready to take it off, you just do that. And then when you're ready to put it back on, you just do that. So it doesn't involve your ears. Ears free for people like me that have really dinky short ears and can't wear a traditional mask because they just pop right off. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to show you what to do. Okay, so here's the materials you're going to need to create your own mask. You can make a kid's mask. This is the template for the kid's mask. Now, I'm using wood, but you can use paper. You can cut out something sturdier like cardstock, something to trace or cut around. With the boards. I'll show you how I do that. Also, here's the adult size. I'm going to be creating an adult size mask. It's going to be 9 inches by 12 inches for the tutorial. Step 1, you want to cut your fabric. Okay, so again, I am using my adult template. If you have scissors, you can use scissors. I'm using my handy dandy razor blade. So I'm just cutting around the edges, and that's why I have a wooden board underneath so that it's like a cutting mat, since I don't have a cutting mat at my house. Now, obviously, if you don't have those supplies, you can use a sheet of paper and scissors. It works. My suggestion is to use an ink pen to get your lines down so you can see where to cut before you cut, and that makes it a little bit easier. If you didn't get the edges, you can just go in there and clip the edges. It's also helpful to have, obviously, a pair of fabric scissors around, but if you don't have fabric scissors, just use regular scissors. They work just as well. So right now I'm just cutting off the little ends. Okay. So now I want you to look at that. It's a little bit hairy on the edges. That's fine because that's going to get folded in. So you don't have to worry about that. So the next thing I'm going to do, now that I have it cut out, so I'm going to iron it, get it nice and smooth. Nice and smooth, and also nice and clean. Okay? Next thing you're going to do is you're going to fold it, put it in front of you long ways, okay? And then you're going to fold it in half like that. And then I want you to iron so that that crease presses down so you know where the center of the rectangle is. Okay? So now when you open it, you're going to see that there's the center of the rectangle. Okay? Next thing you're going to do is you're going to fold this down to the center. Okay? Now, here's the trick. What I do is I take just a little bit of the fabric and I press it down and iron just a little bit so that any of the uneven edges, the little hairy edges, get covered up. You're not going to see it, so it's not going to hurt anything. And you bring it down to here, nice and smooth. No sewing required. And you do that. So again, this is beginners. So I'm sure there's ways, there's, the tape and all that, all the things. I don't know those things because I'm not a professional. So this is my unprofessional method. I'm going to do the same thing at the bottom. I take this little bottom stripe here and iron. And then fold that up. So super duper easy. That's the point. I'm not a professional. I don't have to be. Now, if you want to, you can adjust. Like, you can open it up a little bit. Let's say you have a big face, and you want to make it a little bit bigger. All you do is you pull up the fabric or down, down. As long as you have enough space so that your filter doesn't, fall out. But, basically that's it. You can also double this fabric. Okay. Lately I've been making them thinner because for the most part it's so hot outside and it's so much that with the filtration in there, I feel like it's thick enough, but you can double, double this if you need to. Okay. So you can do 2 9x12 square or rectangles and that works too. Okay. So now I'm going to show you guys how to do the side folds, and it's really easy. One thing that you're going to need that I forgot to tell you to grab some clips or some pins. I am terrible with the pins. I poked myself. I can't get them to stay. It really annoys me. So what I do is I just use these clips. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this edge here and I'm going to fold it over. Okay. Because I'm getting rid of the hairy ends. I don't want to see those. So these are going to be tucked in. You won't see them in your mask. Be nice and smooth. Looks really professional. Now, what I'm going to do is I got my filter and I'm going to just lay it kind of in the middle. Now, if I wanted to get like real sophisticated, I could fold it like this and say, okay, this is the middle. That's where the filter is. So I know, I just guesstimate, but I just want to make sure that my filter will fit. So I'm going to do that there. And then I'm going to take my pins. Well, they're pins. They're clothespins. And I'm going to put them here. My clips. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to fold this down. Make sure I iron it so it doesn't wiggle on me. It's a lot of ironing. More ironing than I normally do. This one's a little bit crooked. So yeah, here we go. So now I have that in place. And I'm going to clip it. All right. So now I'm ready to sew. Okay. Now, if you don't have a sewing machine, don't worry. You can use, fabric tape, just run the tape here, iron, seal. I can't verify that hot glue would work, but I know that fabric glue would work. I don't know how long it takes for fabric glue to dry, but I know Eileen's tacky fabric glue is just amazing and holds everything forever. So let's say you're not a sewer, you could totally use Eileen's tacky glue and be done with it. I don't know how many washes it'll hold up through, but I definitely know that it will hold the mask together pretty well. Now, however, if you want to use this long term, the sewing is the best way to go. So I'm going to go ahead and put a stitch. So what I do is I put a stitch here and I put a stitch here, run my string through, and then I put another stitch to keep the string from squeezing through. So I'll show you how to do that next. Okay, so now I'm ready to sew. I'm going to run a stitch here and a stitch here. Okay, so like I say, you need some thick string like drawstring. So I'm going to tell you guys the secret. If you watch this video, I'll tell you where I got it. It's actually the clothesline. It's clothesline string. You get it at Dollar Tree. I think you can get it pretty much anywhere, but it is so nice and thick and cheap. We love cheap. So what I do is I guesstimate on how long it is. So we already know we're going to need something longer than a necklace. So it's about like 2 or 3 necklaces stuck together. I recommend making them nice and long, especially if you're giving them to someone else. So that way, if they need to cut, retie and cut some off from length, they can. And you might have a big dome, and if you have a big dome, you might need a long string. Okay. So what I do is take the string. This is the trick. Okay. You take the scissors and you put the scissors through the hook on the other side, and then you can pull it right through. Magic. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. I'm going to rotate. And I'm going to Put this through. Now, sometimes that happens where it gets stuck in there's like a little inside pocket. All you have to do is put your finger in, and that way you can feel the blade and kind of guide it through so that it doesn't get like stuck inside the fabric. There we go. And then you do the same thing. You grab onto it. Don't obviously press down so you don't cut the string, but you just pull it through, make it pretty, and then decide on the length. Like I say, lots of length, and you'll kind of figure it out. Like you'll be able to eyeball it. I haven't come up with like an official like length, but that's because everybody I make them for has a different size head. And, the kids, obviously you're going to make the strings a little shorter. Okay. So now I'm going to cut, and I'm going to tie a knot on the end. Ow. Don't hurt yourself when you tie knots like me. So that you have kind of a thick knot so it's not easy to drag it back through. And again, what's cool about this is if you do need a longer string and the string's too short, you can just replace the string. This whole thing can be washed, so you can like throw it in the wash. And then, of course, the filters, you can replace them or you can double them. You can do a lot with them. And you can throw them in the oven at the lowest setting for like 30 minutes. It'll sanitize them, or you can leave them like in bright sunlight and it'll sanitize them, So now, optional, you can put one more stitch in, which I do. And I put it here. I push well, it's not really yarn. It's more like rope. But anyway, I push the string over, and then I add another stitch here. If you want it to get really fancy, you could push it over here and like add it like where it doubles so that it's like that, but it's up to you. But you can add another stitch on this side, another stitch on this side, and it'll keep the string from pulling back through the little end. But that's it. That's all. I'm going to pop in the filter, and then I'll go ahead and show you guys how it fits so you can see like for real, like how wonderful and amazing they are. So see how that filter just pops right in there. No hassle. That's the area that is right over your nose and your mouth. All right, so our mask is done. Again, you put it on, you squeeze it up, and you tie it. And guess what? You have a handy dandy little mask. Fits nice. I can adjust it, make it fit better. This one is the one I just made. And as you can see, it fits really good. I don't have to worry about, constantly adjusting it, and it's soft, it's not irritating. And when I'm ready to take it off, I do this, it's hanging on my neck. So I'm not like throwing it in my car or anything. It's like right there once I get into my vehicle. And then when I'm ready to go in somewhere, I can just, put it back on. So it's super easy. You don't have to untie it and tie it unless you really are, not good at tying knots. All right. So thanks for coming to my channel. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Take care. God bless. And thanks for watching my video. Bye.